All right, let's get started with section 5.5, factoring the sum and difference of two cubes. So, a sum of cubes looks like this. Notice that it is a binomial and its terms are perfect cubes. Similarly, a difference of cubes looks like this. It's a binomial and its terms are perfect cubes. If your polynomial meets this condition or these conditions, then you can factor this type of polynomial. They are called the sum or difference of cubes. To your right are the formulas for the sum or difference of cubes. And I'm going to show you how to use this formula to factor your sum and difference of cubes. I have a note on the right here that says you don't need to know the cubes formulas. I will actually put these formulas on the test. Now, these are the only formulas I will put on the test, but just know that I'll put the formulas on the test so that you don't have to memorize the formula. Here's an example. So notice this first problem here, x cubed plus 8. Let's call this number 1. Notice that x cubed is a perfect cube because x times x times x is x cubed. But also 8 is a perfect cube because if you take the cube root of 8, you get 2, or in other words, 2 cubed is 8. So I have a breakdown stage here where we identify what is the A and the B in this template here. So what cubed is x cubed? It will have to be x. So here the x is acting like the A in the template. To your right over here, we have 2 cubed because 2 cubed equals 8. So what is B? B is 2. Okay, so if we follow this formula, A plus B, that's why we have x plus 2, because A is x, and we're just making a substitution. And let me write this. A equals x, and B equals 2. So wherever you see an A in the formula, you're going to put x. And whatever you see a B in the formula, you're going to put 2. So for example, to form the first parenthesis, A plus B, A is x, B is 2. Instead of putting A squared, we're making a substitution. A is x, so now it's going to be x squared. We never change the signs of the formula. We keep the signs. So that's why it's minus here. A, B means A times B. So if we multiply our A and our B together, we get 2x. Of course, we will write the 2 first. Coefficients go in front of the variables. And B squared would be 2 squared. Don't write 2 squared, write 4, because 2 squared can be simplified to 4. So that's why the formula for x cubed plus 8 equals x plus 2 times x squared minus 2x. Let's recap. So once you figure out what A and B are, all you have to do is use the formula at the top and make a substitution for A and B. As simple as that. Now, how do you check your answer? Well, the reverse of factoring is multiplication. So I'm going to show you how to check your answer below. So we have number 1, let's multiply x plus 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 4. So you're going to take everything on the left side and multiply it times everything on the right side. Starting with the x. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 2x is negative 2x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Now let's multiply 2 times everything to the right. 2 times x squared, let's stack it under the negative 2x squared. 2 times negative 2x is negative 4x. And 2 times positive 4 is a positive 8. What happens in the middle? Notice that the middle cancels out, leaving us with x cubed plus 8. This checks out because this is what we factored, x cubed plus 8 and number 1. So that's proof that x plus 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 4 is indeed the correct answer. Let's move on to number 2. Notice for number 2, we have a sum of squares again. And the reason why it's a sum of squares is because of this plus sign. If it was a minus sign, it would be a difference of squares. Let's break down the problem. So the first thing I want you to do is just put a parenthesis cube. Since it's a sum, let's put plus another parenthesis cube. And let's determine what goes inside of the parenthesis that would equal x cubed. It would have to be x, right? Because the only thing that would that you could cube would be x to give you x cubed. Now what cube is 27? Or in other words, the cube root of 27 equals what? It would be 3. 3 cubed. So here we have that our a is x and our b is 3. We're going to follow the formula above. We're going to follow this formula here because it is a sum of cubes formula. So the first parenthesis is a plus b. So our a for this case is x. Again, do not change the signs. The sign says plus here, and that's all we're going to do is put the plus. Just write the plus down. B is 3. Then you have a longer, wider parenthesis. Instead of putting a squared, we're going to swap out the a with an x squared minus a times b. Our a is x, our b is 3. So 3 times x is 3x plus b squared. Our b is 3. So what is, if b is 3, then what is 3 squared? It is 9. So our answer is x plus 3 times x squared minus 3x plus 9. And of course you can check it by multiplying. But let's move on to the next problem, number 3. X cubed minus 1 is a difference of cubes. Now, we're going to start off by putting parentheses cube minus parentheses cube. And again, this is our breakdown stage. It's just to help you identify what the A and the B are in the formula. And so this time we're going to use the second formula, which is A minus B times A squared plus AB plus B squared, using the same signs as the formula. We're just swapping out A and B. So in this case, what goes in the first parenthesis, so that is x cubed, it would have to be x. So that's our A. What cubed is 1? Definitely have to be 1. So our A and B are x and 1. So when we put it in our formula, follow the second formula. A minus B would be x minus 1. A squared would be x squared plus what's A times B. 1 times x is 1x, or simply x, because normally we don't write the 1 in the final answer, plus B squared. What is 1 squared? 1. So always multiply that last part. Don't ever put a number squared. Go ahead and multiply it. Let's move on to the fourth problem here. 8a cubed plus 125. So here we have something cubed plus something cubed. What cube would give us 8a cubed? It would be 2a, because 2a times 2a times 2a, or 2a cubed, equals 8a cubed. And what cube would give you 125? It would have to be 5. So instead of putting the A in our formula, we're going to put 2a, replace the A with 2 A's, and wherever we see a B, we're going to put 5. So which formula are we using in this case? We are using the first formula because it's a sum of cubes. So we're going to follow the first formula here. So the first formula has a parenthesis A plus B. So instead of an A, we're going to replace the A with a 2A, plus B is 5. Now here's the tricky part that most people get mixed up when there's more than an X, or simply an X for A. In this case, A is 2A, and we are squaring what we're saying A is, and our A is 2A. So if we square 2A, what do we get? So that's the same thing as 2 squared, which is 4, and A squared, which is A squared. So this should be a 4A squared here. Minus, and I'm just following the formula, A times B would be 2A times 5, which is 10A, plus 5 squared would be 25. And this 2A plus 5 times 4A squared minus 10A plus 25 will give you the 8A cubed plus 125. Let's move on to the next problem. We're going to call it number 5. We have a 64C cubed plus D cubed. Can actually identify what the A and the B are. So we have a sum of cubes again, and our A is what you think. Remember, when you cube what you say, it has to give you 64C cubed. So it would have to be 4C to give you 64C cubed. and our b would have to be d. Now, let's follow our formula for the sum of cubes, which is a plus b first. So a plus b, in our case, a is 4c and b is d. So when we follow the formula, we're going to put 4c plus d for the first parenthesis. Now, again, this is the tricky part. This is where most people mess up on this part right here. A squared. Now, what is our a again? Our a is 4c. But if we are squaring it, we get 16c squared. So we write 16c squared minus, now we multiply 4c times d together because that's our a and our b. So 4cd plus a d squared. Moving on to the last one, we have 8 minus 27x cubed. Notice that it's backwards, but it's okay. We can follow the formula just fine with it being backwards. So again, you're going to put parenthesis cube, but this time let's put a minus sign, and we determine what cubed is 8. That would be 2. What cubed is 27x cubed? It'll be 3x. And so our a would be 2 and our b would be 3x. So if we follow the second formula, a minus b, it would be 2 minus 3x times what would be 8a squared. That would be 2 squared in our case, which is 4, plus, let's multiply the a and the b together, which is 2 times 3x, which is 6x, plus b squared would be 3x squared, which would be 9x squared. And that concludes the lesson on the sum and difference of cubes.